This is how the very top of the Premier League table looks with 25 games played. That means there are 13 left to go. Liverpool have a 7-point advantage over Arsenal. They have a plus 36 goal difference should that happen. Remember, these sides will play each other on the 10th of May, very deep into the season with just 2 more games left to play after that. So it's just all bubbling away quite nicely because although that gap is at 7 points at the moment, and that looks like a pretty healthy gap. That was not a convincing performance from Liverpool, and it comes off the back of the defeat by Plymouth in the FA Cup. It comes off the back of that late equaliser in an emotionally exhausting last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park in midweek, and they look like they were running on fumes against Wolves.
For everything you've just said there, I just feel that's why I feel they're going to be the champions, because they're not playing well and they're still getting results. And I think that's the problem almost at the minute.
Doesn't there come a point where results catch up with performances?
No, because I feel like their performances will go up again. I think this is just their blip kind of situation. Where, listen, they might get beat here, they might get beat there, but I just feel with Liverpool, the firepower they've got, they're not necessarily playing that well, but they're still getting results. At some point, this is not going to continue. Their performances will go up again. They'll start to play really well again.
And they're still winning games, like you say.
That's the big thing.
The thing is, and I'm trying to inject a note of jeopardy in here, the thing is, this is a big week for Liverpool because they've got the League Cup final to come in March. So their game there has been rescheduled for midweek, this week coming, which is Aston Villa. They're at Aston Villa for that game. At the weekend, they're at the Etihad for Manchester City. And we saw what they just did to Newcastle. Then they've got Newcastle in the Premier League. They've only got one Premier League game in the whole of March. That's the one against Southampton because they've got the League Cup final. And then it's a Merseyside derby. And yes, this one is at Anfield, so it doesn't come with quite that emotional kind of chaos that we saw in the one at Goodison. They're not easy. I mean, OK, Southampton at home, you would think with Southampton's performances this season should be all right. They are not an easy run of fixtures between now and the beginning of April.
No, they're not. But like what Benty alluded to, they're winning games when they're not playing that well. Yeah. And that's what the best teams do. That's how teams historically have won the Premier League. Winning 1-0 wins a win. But I think this Liverpool team, like I've said it many times on this show and on Team Talks as well, like Mo Salah, like the guy's a joke. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter how old he is. I've said to you and you always laugh at me, give that man whatever he wants because he's a game changer. I don't think they'll ever get anybody in the near future to replace someone like Mo Salah. So I think, this Liverpool team, they play like champions at times. They've got Gakpo. Their strength in depth is unbelievable. When Jota's injured, there's Darwin Núñez. He's not at his best, but they still have that quality. McAllister, like the quality they have. And Virgil van Dijk's having a great season as well. So I think they can win those games. I do. I think what you see what Arne Slot's done, they haven't skipped a beat since Jurgen Klopp left, have they, really? I mean, if anything, they've kind of taken it to another level, but then at the detriment of Man City. Also, I'm sure Jurgen Klopp's thinking I should have left next year because, the fact that City have had this blip that they're having, no one saw that coming. And then it's down to Arsenal to kind of push him all the way.
Do you know what? My only thing with Liverpool, I think for me, the key, and you're right, Salah, the goals he scored is Virgil. I just feel if they lost Virgil to injuries or the contract or that type of situation, the injury is probably the big thing. I just don't think Liverpool fans would feel as comfortable if it's... And listen, Kwanzaa's good young talent, Gomez, Kanate, all good players in their own right, but you put Virgil next to anybody and they're going to be calm. You take him out of it and you've just got those two, that's where I think...
and I think that's the reason why you have to keep that jeopardy in there. Also, the fact that Liverpool against Wolves, it almost was as if 2-0 was too easy. They started coasting. They were like a horse that gets to the front and then starts to idle in front and actually needs to be challenged to go again. What I think really did vindicate Arne Slot is he had a lot of criticism for the side he played against Plymouth. But if you think about when the original Everton game was postponed in December and last week's game against Everton, they played twice a week for 8 out of those 9 weeks. And when you look at Everton's energy levels in that game and the way that Everton came back, they kept going all the way to the end. Had he gone strong in that Plymouth game, those players would not have had the legs to live with Everton in that emotionally chaotic game, as you were saying. And then I was looking at the fixtures coming up. You had Everton on Wednesday, you had Wolves on Sunday, you've got Villa on Wednesday. You've got Manchester City 4 days later after that. I mean, the games are coming thick and fast for them. And Slot is absolutely right to manage the squad the way that he's managed it so that they can cope. Otherwise, you're adding another element of jeopardy, chasing a four-timer that Liverpool have gone for before and failed to do. Why would you do that when you can actually maximise your potential to stay top of the league and stop at the Champions League?
And as much as we look ahead to the City game at the weekend, and Liverpool will have played Aston Villa at Villa Park in midweek, Manchester City will have played at the Bernabeu in the Champions League, and then all the last 16 games come into play after that for both Liverpool and for Arsenal. And actually, are Arsenal, to answer the question of whether or not Arsenal are placed well in order to challenge Liverpool should they wobble, because the question is whether Liverpool will be able to catch breath in order to raise the level of their performances. Over the last 15 games, their record is exactly the same. Their goal difference is exactly the same. So if Liverpool dip and Arsenal improve, then that's where the gap can start to close, which could set us up for a huge game.
And
we're all looking towards the 10th of May, basically. We're all looking towards that.
Where Arsenal could really make it the most of this is the clean sheet record. 2 in their last 2 games now. They're starting to get defensively strong again. If they can nick goals
1-0s
now, 1-0s. They don't need
Set
to be
pieces
explosive.
even if
exactly. Go back to their strengths. They could take it all the way. Liverpool are conceding each of their last 4 home games. They're not as I know we've been nice about Virgil and all that, but Konate wasn't that convincing against Wolves. Quanta's been in and out. There are deficiencies in that back line and they give opposition teams a chance. Villa look as though they can score goals again as well. The jeopardy's there.
Do you know what it is for Arsenal? I just do think, obviously, Mika Moreno coming on, scoring the 2 goals was huge. Arsenal so many times this season, and certainly without a recognised centre forward. Now Havertz is not there, Saka's not too far away. There's games where they're really tight and they just haven't managed to find that spark for someone to step up and get that goal.
Well, they've got Sterling and Trossard in there and Nwaneri.
Look at them. Look at the teams that they've. I mean, look, there was the League Cup game against Newcastle, and that was done over the 2 legs. But look at those results in there. Yeah,
but Martinelli was ever present before the Newcastle 2-0. He's no longer there for a little bit. Havertz is now, he's gone down throughout for the season.
But hang on. This is Havertz, who has been under real fire for not being able to finish.
Superstar.
This is Kai Havertz. Suddenly he's got injured, and it's like, well, that's it now. There's no Kai Havertz.
No, but it's just another body.
The problem, and now he's the solution.
Now he's the solution.
But no, it's just another body, and he has scored important goals this season. But when you then remove him, and then you remove Martinelli, Saka's not there. I mean, you're relying on.
And even if he's not scored, he's another distraction for defence.
Exactly. And we've got Nwaneri. He's a 17-year-old kid, as special as he is.
And he doesn't play like a 17-year-old at all.
He does. It's just options, and that's where I just think Arsenal may. I hope they don't.
I think they'll fall short based upon that, though, guys. I think the front line is so crucial. We talk about Liverpool's defence, but you look at that front 3 at the weekend with Trossard, Sterling, Nwaneri, that isn't a championship winning side. That isn't.
All it needs to be is provide that energy that's going to keep them going for 2 months.
Yeah, but not the quality. The quality. Look at Liverpool's front line.
Where has got the quality?
Huh?
And where has got the quality?
Yeah, he has, but he's not Salah, Gakpo, nah.
Do you know what? 13 games to go. The Champions League in the mix in terms of the fixtures that they've got, depending on how they perform there. There's a lot of twists to come in this title race. I'm going with Darren. There's jeopardy still to come. Thank you,
Come
Darren.
on, United.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you. Be back next week, Banty, or is it righty?
Right, I think.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Well, Anna, congratulations. I guess the roar from the crowd at the end said a lot, but for you personally, how big are those 3 points?
Just as big as all the other ones, but this one is big as well. I said in the dressing room, maybe you could come in a bit disappointed because it wasn't our best second half. We had to fight till the end. We needed Ali in an important moment, block a free kick from a promising position. But in a season where you want to achieve something, no matter what you want to achieve, but if you want to achieve something at all, you need to have wins like this as well. So it was 2 weeks ago where we played fantastic football, beat Spurs with 4-0. That's in a season, but wins like this should also be included in a season where you want to achieve something.
As you analyse that second half, I think it was 2017 the last time that Liverpool played a second half of football without registering a shot. Was that a sign of just how good Wolves were, or was that part of the game plan to just see it out at 2-0?
That was never the game plan, not to create anything at all. We did have a few promising or good situations, but one of them was disallowed for offside. One of them was a penalty that got turned over by the VAR. So yeah, we were by far not enough a goal threat, but in the second half. But that was also due to the fact that Wolves took a lot of risks, brought us many times in 1v1 situations, and I think the team felt that today, to bring this win over the line, defending was a bit more important than attacking a lot, and that was then the end result. But ideally, you play a different second half than this one. But if this is what it needs to win a game, then I'm happy to see that these players can do this as well.
Yeah, I mean, you must be so pleased with the effort levels. They did have to work hard in that second half. Andy Robertson did come in here and he said fatigue was probably a factor. Would you agree, watching on?
Yeah, you always wonder if that is only physique, that it comes from running a lot, or it's a bit of mental physique as well after all the events that happened in last game, and especially in the last 8 minutes. And then again today we were mentally tested because we thought we scored the third, we thought we got a penalty for the first, both situations correctly handled by the referee, but then conceding the 2-1 straight afterwards, that is a mental test, and that's what we did very good. But if you feel the stress of, maybe that leads to us being a bit tired, because I did see for the first time maybe this season that in the end of the game players were more tired than they were in other games. Yeah.
Speaking of mentality, what about Luis Diaz today? A goal and an assist, chipping in at a really important time when you've got some massive games coming up back to back.
Yeah, it wasn't the plan that Cody got injured, because Lucio was playing against Plymouth, and we knew that we always had Cody. So in retrospect, it wasn't ideal that Lucio played 90 minutes over there. But so now with Cody being injured, he has to play even more than maybe the idea was when he went into the Plymouth game. But he showed a great character and personality today by being really important in 2 goals, but also his work rate, like all the others, was outstanding.
And for added context to just how big these 3 points are, with Arsenal catching up a little bit overnight, just that breathing space a little bit at the top of the table, were you able to lean into that a little bit?
No, you can never breathe, I would say, in this competition. I think I saw before the game that Arsenal is a 15 games unbeaten run, 10 wins, 5 draws. And I think during these 15 games, the gap has always been 7 points. So that tells you what we do and what they do. And that's, I think, what makes the Premier League such a great league. Last 2 seasons it was mainly between Arsenal and City, that both of them had to keep on winning. Now we are involved at the moment as well. And if you want to compete for something special, that you have to win a lot of games in this league. And now it's Arsenal, next season or the season before it was City and Arsenal. So we know we have to win a lot of games, and that's what we are focusing on.
Gantry, Gary, but this was tense at the end, probably for different reasons for you than it was for example, Jamie.
I actually thought it was a really good day for Liverpool, but I actually thought it was half a decent day for Arsenal as well, in thinking that Liverpool have got Villa coming up away, they've got City coming up away, and that Liverpool just got over the line against the Wolves team. I thought Wolves were fantastic in the second half. And then when they score this goal, you're thinking they're right back in it. But I think sometimes you get a game like that when you're going for a title as well at home, where people think you're going to turn up and win easily. You're 2-0 up. You think you're going to go and score 3 or 4, and it becomes difficult for you. So we've all had these types of matches. So that's why I think it was a good result for Liverpool. But I also think Arsenal will look at it and think, OK, it wasn't a 4-0 against Wolves. It was a 2-1, so it gives us a bit of hope.
And you talk about the upcoming fixtures. Obviously, within that, there's the Champions League 16 matches for both sides. And until they're concluded in midweek, we won't know exactly who their opponents are going to be. But you mentioned the next 2 opponents for Liverpool, Aston Villa and Manchester City.
Those 2 are big, Kelly. They're really big. Because, look, Villa aren't in the best of form at this moment in time, but it's a ground you can go to and get caught out. And City...
Same.
Absolutely, you can get caught out there. They've got the players that can turn up and score 2 or 3 against you. So for me, I think that if Liverpool could get 4 points out of those 2 games and move on, I think they'll be in a great position because, Arsenal are going to drop points as well towards the end of the season.
We're always looking at where to assess the title race. Are we looking there at a line under the end of February before it resets again? Because Liverpool have only got one Premier League game in March.
Yeah, and when I look at the games, obviously Arsenal found a way of winning yesterday, bringing on Marino, and he might be the answer as a centre-forward. I certainly don't think he is, but he'll get you goals because of his physicality up there. This is going to be edgy. You could see it with Liverpool today. He spoke after, just looked on the Sky Sports app there, and and the manager said that we were bad and we got worse. And I sort of understand what he was saying because they were edgy. They've had a couple of bad results. They needed to get 3 points no matter how they did it. And I know how to lose a title, and Gary knows how to win a Premier League title. But that's the sort of pressure that you're going to come under. So it is going to be a case of who can handle the nerves and things like that. There's going to be so many twists and turns. I do still believe in this title race.
But Arsenal, if you look at those fixtures, if Liverpool can get through this week, Arsenal, I think, have got Nottingham Forest away and Manchester United away. It's coming up in the next 3. They're tough games for them. So I think Liverpool can get through this week.
United, and that says
no, but
it's a hard game.
It sounds crazy, but when United play against the big teams, they can cause shocks. They can do stupid things sometimes, and they can turn up and lift the game. They are capable of that. So I think if Liverpool can get through this week with 4 points, I think there's a good chance Arsenal may drop points in those 2 as well, and then they'll be back to 7 points. So that'll be sort of par coming out of this difficult period.
It's funny how perceptions can be misleading, because that is Arsenal's best record, unbeaten record in the Premier League since the Wenger era. And the last 15 games unbeaten. That is an identical record, including goal difference, to Liverpool. It's absolutely identical. 1-10, drawn 5. And yet the perception is Arsenal having a bit of underachieving a bit this season. Newcastle put them away in the 2-legged Carabao Cup semi. Absolutely messed up the FA Cup match against Manchester United when they should have won that comfortably. And yet they're still in the Champions League. And in the league, I mean, they're clearly second favourites to Liverpool by some distance. But, unbeaten 15 takes some doing in Ireland.
No, it does, especially in this league. It's
right in half those games without Saka, who's arguably who is their best attacking player.
It's because they've got a centre forward. They're looking different. They've got a centre forward now.
Got one now.
There you go. He came in, nicked 2 goals, didn't he? He's the answer. He's the answer. Going to be even money favourites soon. I just feel that this
was the only option.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, Poogs. The thing about it is, when you've got a player that stays in between the 2 centre halves, and JB just mentioned it, the centre forward is easy.
Exactly. Look, you've got wide players who are fantastic at getting the ball out wide, causing a problem or two to the opposition fullbacks, but they're not afraid to put the ball in the box. Yeah. Look at the starting position. We've got him highlighted here. He's staying in between the 2 defenders. What's his first thought? His first thought is, can I get behind the defenders?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Let me just make sure I've got a yard in front and a yard behind.
Make sure I stay onside. Yep.
That's prime centre-forward movement. That's what you want. Down here, he's at the bottom of the pitch here.
Don't run offside again.
What's he thinking? Stay onside, but look at his movement. He's going straight in towards goal. But that is such a difficult finish, that second one, because he goes with his wrong foot. He should be going with his right foot. You're taught to open your body up and control it back inside on your right foot. But he's far more comfortable on his left. Great finish, but really difficult technique.
He said afterwards, well, no, I don't think that will happen again. He's never played centre-forward before.
That's it for the season now.
Can he how many games are there left? 13, I think.
13, 14.
Can he seriously play centre-forward the rest of the season and in the Champions League?
From what I've seen today, he took up some very good centre-forward positions. He didn't really do a lot outside the box. And when the ball went in the box, he was the person closest to it or getting the bit or scoring. So why not? Why not? What are you going to do? What else are you going to do?
Before he came on, they looked utterly toothless, didn't they?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's because
you taught yourself into playing centre-forward.
But they didn't have a player playing the way that he played in that game when he came on. If you've got an attacking player attacking the box, attacking the defenders, putting them in, making the defenders look over their shoulders to see where you are, that means they're taking their eye off the ball, which means you've got a slight advantage. Nobody else for Arsenal has done that for a little while. I don't see why he shouldn't.
And it helps when you've got a player like Waneri, who is age 17, having an astonishing introduction, that his... Well, what is it? It's his calmness on the ball, it's his decision-making, it's his precision, it's all of it, isn't it?
There's a lack of expectation. Well, before the game started, there was a lack of expectation. Now we've seen how good, how confident, how comfortable he is on the ball, moving around. He's sharp. If he's able to continue this sort of form for the remainder of the season, it relieves a little bit of pressure on Arsenal and on Saka as well, because we're expecting Saka to come back and be fit and firing exactly as he was just before he got injured. Arsenal don't need to worry so much if this young man's able to continue this form.
You know, as well, when you've got a player that young as well, because they've never really experienced defeat or loss or failure, they don't know what it feels like.
Got no scar tissue, have you?
No, so they just play the game like they play the game. He's probably playing that game when he's playing in the under-18s in the night. They're playing the same way because that's the only way he knows. And when you take that to the first team, you stand out because all the first team are different.
He's Arsenal's best attacker.
He's exciting.
I mean, Sterling had a difficult game, and Trossard's a good player, but he's Arsenal's best attacker. Saka won't be fit for about another 8 weeks. That's quite a long time. That is Saka's position, wide right.
Yep.
Could he play Saka wide right and Waneri wide left?
Yes.
Even though they both actually want to play on the right and cut in on their left.
Yeah, he does as he's told.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does as he's told and he goes on the left.
These days.
No. And you know what? I think Arteta's that kind of player, that kind of manager. Arteta will say, listen, you've been brilliant.
He was that type of player as well.
Yeah, exactly. I bet he is. I bet he was.
If you want to be in the first team, you're going to have to play on the left.
Get on the left, Saka on the right. That'd be amazing. Why wouldn't you do that?
In a way, that would teach him another trick, another string to his bow, because he's going to have to learn to go outside of players, isn't he?
Or cut inside on his weaker right foot.
And
if he's able to do that, what a menace he's going to be.
And become properly two-footed.
Exactly.
Like Saka.
Yeah.
Saka does it.
The 7 points is a lot to make up, and they've still got to go to Anfield. But all they can do is, as we say in English, keep Liverpool honest right to the end, isn't it?
So look, 7 points is it's a lot of points, especially based on what Liverpool are at the moment, what they've been this season. But if we've seen Liverpool's fixtures, they're not easy fixtures, the next few, right? If they lose one and they draw one, they drop, 5 points? If Arsenal still have to go there. Arsenal win that game against them, it's 2 points, and anything can happen in the other games in between.
All you can do, isn't it? And Saka will be fit by the Anfield game, all being well.
Just deal with what's in front of you and then move on.
One at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Deal with it. It's very, very boring, but it's the way to do it. And I think Arsenal and Arteta will do exactly that.
Yeah, with Mourinho up front.
Why not?
Why not? Knock it to the big man.
Exactly.
See, knock it to the big man.
Double figures.
Exactly.
Double figures.
That's what we've got back to. We got back in time.
Exactly, yes.